welcome back everyone to a kind of tutorial slash discussion. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the upcoming patch 1.12, which will be the next Aurora for C# patch and is slated to release in about 2 weeks or so from now. That's the last estimate from Steve, the developer of the game. And this video is just going to be kind of talking about the changes, talking about what they will mean for you. Feel free to have a discussion in the comments below, and I'm just going to be going through all of them accordingly. I'm not going to discuss every single change as it'll take a lot of time, but I'm going to pick out the most important ones and put them on the screen as exactly what the changes are. And in the description there'll be timestamps to each part of the video where I'll discuss each separate change, and then also in the description will be the link to the change list, so you can look at it yourself if you want to look at the written side of it. So the first thing that we're going to do is that this video will be basically selected up into different chunks. So we're going to have fixes. So this is going to be just bug fixes, issues with the game that were fixed they're going to be fixed through the patch and all that kind of stuff. Then we have changes. So these are general changes to mechanics, to things that are quite important and stuff like that. And then we have quality of life changes. These are fixing UI elements, adding buttons that will help cut down time of doing things, stuff like that, stuff that helps your quality of life. And so we're going to start out with the fixes. So there's an entire list of fixes that will be on screen as we can see. But I'm just going to kind of go through some of the most important fixes to me that I find very important. Now, there's about 30 fixes here. Now, all these fixes are very, very important, obviously, but I'm just going to go through the ones that I think are the most important to me. So, number 1. Beam weapons using area point defense can no longer fire multiple times within the same 5-second tick. So, previously, beam weapons kind of had a little bit of a cheat, in a way. More unintended gameplay. When you would set stuff to area defense, they would perform way above, and they would fire multiple times for basically no reason. And this would mean that area defense was actually super strong, way more than it's supposed to be. And that has been reverted back and sorted. So this will basically mean that if you're used to area defense PD being a little bit more powerful, you're gonna get a nerf. This is a general nerf and a bug fix. So keep that in mind, and that's something to think about. The second is a bug that was causing ELNT modules on the same ship that has passive sensors, or on the same ship not to work as passive sensors if you don't have other passive sensors. So what that means is that if I have a ship with an ELINT module, an intelligence module, I'm supposed to get an EM sensor along with it, but I don't currently, unless I have my own passive sensors on the ship as well. So that was a little bug that does actually matter here, because you can save a little bit of weight on your ship. It means that you don't need to worry about being able to detect stuff with the ELINT module and stuff like that. Next problem is a big one that people were talking about on the Discord and across the board. That was the problem with where you would have random shipyard tasks deleted when a slipway was destroyed. So if a slipway was destroyed by a missile or some other kind of issue with a slipway, randomly shipyard tasks would just get deleted. So this was building a ship, scrapping ships, stuff like that, and a lot of people got quite annoyed at times from that. So that is a really nice bug. That was fixed. Next, the next bug that was fixed was unload max items bug, or unloaded max items for installations and minerals. So there was a bug that didn't allow you to unload max items for certain things, and that was causing issues. So that'll now be fixed for you guys. There are a ton more fixes, as I've said, but those are some of the most important ones I've looked at there. There's probably a few more there, obviously, that are really important, but that's just something to consider. We're now going to move on to the changes and talk about the most important changes regarding the game. So the first one is going to be Space Master can now change flag hull, icons and race image for AI races. So this means that if you want to RP as Battlestar Galactica, if you want to do a Halo game, if you want to set up NPRs in the same system and in the middle change their flag and hull and race icons, if you want to find an NPR in the normal game and change what they look like, you can do that. It's really awesome. It's going to be great for AARs. And yeah, it's a really welcome feature that I think is going to be great. Parasites are now included in transported items list in Naval Organization. So this means that when you look in the transported items list, and I'll pull this up for you guys right now. I pull this up, and we go to like, if we go over here, then it will list it in here. I don't have anything in here now, but that's something to consider. So yeah, there we go. That's pretty cool as well. Allows you to see everything much more neater. 3. Occupation strength and police modifiers have been changed, and the math for what you actually need for them has been given out. So this is a question that I've had in my own comments, and I'm going to kind of walk through you guys what this means. I'm going to put it on the screen. So, I'm just going to read it out. As a result of my current campaign, this is Steve, I found 2 problems in the occupation and police code. The first is that resistance modifier of a population used for occupation or reducing unrest should be determination plus militancy plus xenophobia divided by 300, but was actually determination plus militancy plus xenophobia divided 300. And assuming all stats were 30, or all stats were 50. That meant the result would be 100.6 rather than the correct 0.5, creating a resistance modifier 200 times than intended. The second bug is the occupation strength of ground forces was far higher than intended. A ground element should have occupation strength of SQRT or size times units times morale divided by 100 times 0.01. However, I forgot the 0.01. So the actual occupation strength was 100 times higher than intended, so the occupation strength bug encountered half the effect of the resistance bug. What does this mean? Essentially what this means is that due to a few bugs, the resistance was much higher on planets like you were occupying, but because of another bug, it was actually cancelling out half of it. So it was like a half bug. Half, it wasn't as bad as it was supposed to be. But yeah, that's a really interesting one. So there's also information there about how the formulas work for it. So if you're ever wondering what affects your occupation strength, that is SQRT, size, size, units, morale, times 0.0. So size times units times morale divided by 100 times 0.0. And next part of it is for 1.12, the following formulas are going to be used for occupation and police. So for acquired occupation strength, it will be determination. One sec. I think that's divide. Yeah, I believe that's divide. I may be wrong. I'll zoom into that for you real quick because I'm reading on my second one now. No, it's not. It's plus. Okay, determination plus militancy plus xenophobia divided by 100 times population amount times political status occupation modifier. So this basically means that based on your race's details, so based on what you have as your race, divide by 100 and then you times the population. So if we have, let's go through the math here real quick. So if I have my faction up here, so I have a determination of 59. I have a militancy of 20, and then I have a xenophobia of 21. So that means that I'm going to have a total of 99 divided by 300. And then I'm going to times the population amount of the planet, so let's say 10 million. So you're going to times by 10. And then you're going to times that by the political status occupation modifier. And that's what you get. And then we have a few other cool things that most people don't really know. So we have political status occupation modifier. Equal slave colony 1.5, conquered 1.0, occupied 0.75, subjugated 0.25, all is 0. So if you have a slave colony, that would be determination plus militancy plus xenophobia divided by 300 times population amount times 1.5. And that is the equation right there. And then we have actual occupation strength is the sum of the individual element occupation strengths. Element occupation strength, so this is the element, is like the infantry, like the ground troops in each formation, is SQRT or size times units times morale divided by 10,000. Then we have reduction in unrest. So this is like dealing with unrest on your colonies. So police strength equal actual occupation strength minus required occupation strength. Effective population size equal determination plus militancy plus xenophobia divided by 300 times population amount. And police modifier equal police strength divided by effective population size. Unrest point to reduced by 100 times police modifier per year. So there you go. That is how that all works, and it's kind of a build on to my planetary protection value video for that little side. So that is how that works. That's an awesome change that is going to be coming with 1.12. Next, the greenhouse gas and dust mechanics have been changed. So new mechanics for the effect of greenhouse gases and dust on temperatures are now calculated using the following formulas. Greenhouse gas equal 1 plus atmospheric pressure divided by 10 plus the pressure of greenhouse gases. If greenhouse factor is greater than 3, then greenhouse factor equal 3. So basically this is just kind of how affecting your greenhouse factor overall, and we'll get to why this was changed in a little bit. So anti-greenhouse gas equal 1 plus dust level divided by 20,000, and then plus the pressure of anti-greenhouse gases. If anti-greenhouse gas factor is above 3, then anti-greenhouse factor equal 3. Surface temperature equal base temperature Kelvin times greenhouse factor times albedo divided by anti-greenhouse factor. So that's a bunch of formulas and math there, but basically what it means is that it's a more accurate formula for deducting it, and it also is going to work out a little bit more. So I'm going to read off what his notes are about this and why it was changed. So this change was made in version 1.11. Anti-greenhouse gas is deducted from greenhouse pressure. However, this gives anti-greenhouse gas a potentially much greater impact than greenhouse gas. For example, assume a planet with no atmosphere, in which is added 1 atmosphere of anti-greenhouse gas. The calculation would be greenhouse gas equal 1 plus 1 divided by 10 minus 1 equals 0.1. In other words, 1 atmosphere of greenhouse gas will reduce the temperature to just 10% of the base temp. Adding 1 with 2 atmosphere will reduce temp below 0 Kelvin. The root cause of this problem is the temperature has a minimum value of 0 Kelvin, but no maximum. The new mechanics avoid this by making anti-greenhouse gases a divisor rather than a subtractive, as this is effectively a temporary anti-greenhouse gas. It makes sense to treat it as such for the new mechanics. However, that doesn't mean that terraformers can remove dust. So basically it was changed because how greenhouse gases worked before, anti-greenhouse gas was too effective, and this has kind of moved it back to take into account dust levels, so you don't have literally the coldest planet in the universe, because that is basically what that is. Next, we have tactical map events. Tactical map events are something that's going to be really awesome. So basically, when events are active on the tactical map, so the first line will show the date and increment length as per the events window. This will be shown even if there is no event in the increment. Events on the tactical map will display the same text and background colors as the event window, so you can color code them. Double clicking an event on the map, tactical map will center on the event map in the same way as the event window. So this is a really, really awesome thing. Where so if you double click on like a ship being built, it will move you to where that is being built. So that is a really nice kind of quality of life and also just general change overall. This will also mean you can color code stuff. So this would, for example, this would be all color coded, and that's really awesome. Next, yes, Rakka's generation chance has been increased. So Rakkas, if you don't know what they are basically, and this is going to be a spoiler, so do not listen if you do not want to be spoiled about a spoiler race. You have been warned. Anything that you hear is now on your ears and your ears alone. In version 1.11, Rakkas need to be within a temperature band about 100 degrees wide, some oxygen, no dangerous gases, available water, high accessibility, minerals, and no ruins. The chance of them appearing is based on a random number generated from 1 to 8. If that is higher than the total accessibility, with uranium counting double, they are generated. So basically, they needed a bunch of checkboxes before they would be generated, and most people weren't finding Rakkas. and they were extremely rare, and this will hopefully fix that for people, and so we can have some better interaction between us and Rackers, and experiencing them. Rackers are essentially, think of them as orcs. They're long, they're regressed people or regressed precursors, basically. They've kind of devolved into tribes and hunting on their planet. They don't have ships. They may have some STOs, and that's about it. And they have really awesome planets. So let's basically think about you're going there to kill the natives to take all their minerals and resources. That is essentially what you're doing. That is proving to be a very, very difficult combination, because a lot of accessible minerals don't tend to appear on planets that meet the other requirements, and water is often not present. For 1.12, I'm dropping the requirements for water, no dangerous gas, and high mineral accessibility. Instead, if the planet meets the other requirements and there is at least one mineral present, there's a 30% chance the Rackers will be present. I may add this as a game parameter. The total mineral accessibility will determine the size of their forces. So that's a little very interesting point at the end there. So basically, if you have a really rich planet, they'll have more forces, which is really cool. But basically, yeah, this will mean that Rackers are going to generate much more often, and we're going to see them way more across the universe. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, I actually can't wait for that. I do really like the idea of interacting with Rackers and all that stuff. Now we are going to move on to the quality of life changes. So, the quality of life changes are as follows. The first change is new. Load all minerals until full move order. So basically what this means is that now there will be a order which will basically allow you to say load all minerals at place until full. So instead of loading a certain amount of minerals, it will load all. Basically they will just keep loading, and they will repeat until the cargo load is full. So this is also pretty useful in terms of, like, let's say you have a planet mining. Okay, let's say you have a planet mining, and you send a freighter there to pick up the minerals. If the freighter picks up a lot of the minerals, but it doesn't fill itself up again, it will wait there until it is full. And so this is actually really cool for when you have tons of mines and you have not that many mines, and you want your freighters to be more efficient in moving resources back and forth. And so this is a really nice quality of life change that will make stuff a lot more efficient. Next is new pickup, new order, pickup nearest life. So these are orders. So this is a standing order. Fleets can be assigned pick up nearest life pod as a standing order. This will apply to any life pods in the same system as them. So basically, let's say you have a hospital ship, so a ship designed to recover life pods and help other ships. If you give it this standing order, when it's in the system, if it finds life pods, it will go to pick them up. Be careful on this one, because you don't want to have it set as that, and then you're in the middle of a battle and it just rushes forward into gunfire, and yeah, you're not going to have a fun time. And next change, this is a massive one, an absolute gargantuan change here. Assign new labs. Have you ever been annoyed that every time you're building laboratories you get interrupted every single time? Well, don't worry my friends, because we have the new change, Assign New Labs. An Assign New button has been added to the Research tab of the Economics window. This is used to toggle and assign new status to one or more research projects indicated by N after the project name. When new research facilities are constructed or become available through completion of other projects that do not have associated Q projects, those facilities will automatically be assigned to projects flagged as Assign New, in descending order of existing facilities. Each project in the list will be assigned available facilities until it reaches its maximum. Then any remaining available facilities will go to the next project in the list, etc. When the research facilities are removed from a population and the number of assigned facilities has to be reduced, they will be taken first from research projects without the Assign New flag. You can toggle Assign New flag for projects that have already got maximum facilities for this purpose. So that is massive. Basically, you can put a checkbox on a research thing, and it will assign new laboratories that you get on that planet to that research order, which is absolutely incredible. So you can just sit. You'll never need to get interrupted by new labs again, by building new labs, unless you want to. So that's awesome. That's an amazing change. Next change, deployment exceeded condition. So a new condition has been assigned. Basically, it means that you'll be able to set up stuff like refuel if deployment is exceeded, which is awesome, just like really cool. So like no more will you have to constantly micromanage and make sure your ships are like, you know, not exceeding their deployment rates, or watch for the event that says exceed deployment rate. So it's a nice quality of life change. We now have another massive one. If you played VB6, you will be familiar with this. This is the repeat orders X times. So there will be a little box next to repeat orders that will allow you to input the amount of orders you want to repeat. So instead of just repeating it and doubling it every single time, all you have to do is press 5. Let's say you input 5 into the box and say repeat orders 5 times, and it will repeat those orders 5 times. Which is absolutely incredible. That will make everything so much easier. Do you ever notice in my games when I'm trying to load the infrastructure, I don't build extra infrastructure with the first construction because I want to just cycle it so I don't have to deal with the math? That's why. There's no more multiplication games that you have to play to try and get the exact right amount. And it will also mean that you don't have to use civilians constantly, because the big benefit of using civilians is that you can set a specified amount, an exact specification amount that you want. So that's really cool. Another conditional order, refuel, resupply, and overhaul. So we currently have refuel and resupply, but now you'll have refuel, resupply, and overhaul. So they'll just go back and they will resupply and overhaul as well. Really awesome there. And then we have our last one, which is cycle previous locations. So now we have some hotkeys. You can use Alt F11 and Alt F12 to cycle back and forth between the list of all centered locations since the game was started. This works across systems. So basically you click centered on the system and it works pretty well from there. So there we go. That is basically all the changes that I found important. There will be obviously a link in the description. And there will be a link in the description for the changelog. And there are obviously a lot more fixes and little fixes and changes that I did not go over today, but I didn't want to extend the video out too much. But yeah, overall some really awesome changes coming from 1.12. Going to be a great update. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you look forward to 1.12 as I do. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you have a good day. Bye bye.